Hello everybody and welcome back to another blind commentary. Oh wait, it's the arc review for the first arc of HxH Hunter. So yes, it's been an immaculate series because it's very much the prototypical shonen series in quite a few ways. Mostly in the way that it portrays the main character as the most positive, happy-go-lucky person in the world, and it exemplifies the shonen genre in a very literal sense. It's very high energy, very much about friendship, very much about holding true to yourself, and all of the very typical messages of shonen. However, I do wonder, how can it be so very different from every show that came after it? Every show that I've watched that came after it seems to be quite a lot more stereotypical than it is, which is really interesting how one of the first big mainstream shonen shows, since HxH Hunter is very old, not the oldest, but very surprisingly old, it's very strange in the way it does things. Most shonen series very much focus on just like non-stop battles. If you like take a look at Dragon Ball, for example, it focuses a lot on the battles. And even though some of the battles in the original Dragon Ball were a bit different here and there, and they had to try to do a little tricks, that's nothing compared to HxH Hunter, where like there are actually no flat-out battles. Or there are, but they are not the focus. But with those general thoughts in mind, we will now head off with the actual technical aspects. And let us begin with the voices, or sound design department, as this is the one place where I have few things to complain about, mostly in the background music. Now, my opinion about background music is surprisingly well known, I think, as I have very often stated that I feel that background music should be something that supports the show, but doesn't stick out on its own. Certainly, background music is good if you can listen to it on its own, but during the show, it should not stick out. That is my opinion, so it's very subjective, but that is how I choose to judge them. And this is a kind of a stumbling block for the show, because the music is definitely not bad and it does support the show. But there's one caveat for that, and that is that it sticks out far too much. It's very distinctive, and it's always very clear. And it is very noticeable when it repeats itself, because it is so distinctive. Now, that is not to say that music is bad. I've listened to the tracks on their own, and they are definitely good, and they are songs that actually are very much something that you could listen to on their own. And certainly, that's a plus in that category, but it's not how I choose to value background music. Still, it does support the show, and it's not bad. So, that's the worst thing I can say. It's only good, it's not excellent. So, yeah. However, it still has some tracks which are expertly designed and fit the situation so very well. And those are some things that, like, they are for very rare occurrences, mostly for some very high tension moments. And those are repeated so rarely, at least. There was one track which I can't currently remember, which was only played once, which very well blended into that situation. So, yeah, you win some, you lose some. Then we'll talk about sound design in general, which is actually pretty good. The show very much knows when to be silent. It doesn't all the time play music all that much, especially in certain situations. I suppose everybody will know what I'm talking about if they've watched the commentary or watched the show itself, because sometimes silence is more powerful than music. The voice sound effects are at the very least good. There's not much to be said about them. They are very normal. Nothing bad. They're just very okay. Then the voice actors, which I found to be very good, especially on the department of few select characters such as Killua, Gon, Kurapika, and Hisoka. Not so much Leorio, because he's a bit too stereotypical. He's not bad, but he's not the excellent type of voice actor that I'm looking for. Mostly, Hisoka can portray the disgusting, perverted nature of a serial killer, a sadistic, murdering psychopath very well. And that is exactly what he should be. And yet, at the same time, he can portray a disgusting tone in his voice, and I adore that. Killua can portray their very childish nature, and yet at the same time hold some darkness in his. Actually, I think it's a female voice actor, whatever. So I really do like Killua, but for this four, he is the or she is the one with least amount of things to say. And then Kurapika I actually found to be a very good voice actor in the manner that he sounds, or she, whatever, sounds a lot more mature than I think Kurapika is. But yeah. And then of course Gon. I just can't tell you enough how much I love Gon's voice actress. She is able to portray the energy and emotion behind Gon so well. But I think I talked about this during the commentary, so no need for me to go into it here. And then we'll talk about the art style in general. I found the art style, specifically art style and drawing style and all of that, animation style as well. I found it to be very generic for shonen. However, that makes the show far more approachable. And when it comes to character design, the show is excellent. It's immaculate how unique the characters are. There are no two characters that look alike, which is very surprisingly well done. Like, you can't mistake Killua for Gon, for example. And even though they are both very young children, they are by no means similar in any way other than their physical size. And that goes true that is true for every character. The character designs are always they somehow they are so strangely different. There are some very peculiar outfits, yet however they don't look like out of place, at least anymore. At least, like, for example, Killua's very casual wear next to Leoria's businessman suit, that at the first seemed very out of place, but it very much supported their character choices, so that is also one thing I actually very much like about the show, is that it can make, like, well, it has a lot of unique characters, like a lot. I don't think I can mention any single clone character or anything that could be very much just like a character that's a copy of another character in the show. So yeah, the character design is superb. And then we'll talk about the storyline in general, which is, well, it's a very good starting point for the show, to say the least. Since we began with a Hunter exam, we have been established. The whole world has been established to us, at least mostly, at least in the terms of hunters and what they do and what are their responsibilities. Apparently, which are none, but you know. So yeah, the world has been built up very well in these first 21 episodes, and the characters are introduced, their relationships are very well built. Like, the show has been advancing at a very rapid plot, which is really kind of disconcerting that it is going so fast. However, it's not going too fast, which is surprising enough, I suppose. Like, it goes fast, but mostly just to get to the good parts. And when it needs to slow down to emphasize the emotional impact of the current scene, it knows how to slow down. And it doesn't slow down suddenly, it doesn't just jerk into a complete stop, but rather it slows down surprisingly quickly, but gradually at the very least. So, yeah. And then I suppose I should talk about the characters, which is going to take up the rest of the video. First of all, let's talk about the main four characters, which I found to be really good. Mostly in the way that they play off each other, and the way that they kind of embody some of the stereotypical characteristics. However, none of them are two-dimensional. Some of them are more than three-dimensional even. Okay, that's going a bit too far. Especially something as... And they are really portraying characters to archetypes that, well, came to influence shonen after it, like a lot. Such as the character of Killua, which is surprisingly visible in every shonen after it. The cool guy, the most powerful dude ever. However, I feel like since there's more to Killua than that, it's really cool, and he's not like, he's pretty close to being an anti-hero, which is kind of fun. And, well, I don't need to compare Sasuke and Kurapika. The similarities are far too obvious. I still prefer Kurapika, but it's a personal preference, mostly. Well, not really. So yeah, the characters in general, the four main characters I found to be very great, and they support each other very well, and they portray a wide variety of characteristics, and they are very different, and they argue, like, it's important for relationships, like, they began with a fight, which is something very strange, because, or not strange, but it's a very effective way to start the relationship between them, that Kurapika and Leorio just wanted to start a fight. That's really quite something. I really do like that kind of beginning, as it does. It establishes the relationship from antagonistic to being very harmonic, which is really quite something else. I really do like that. And it actually, now that they have been going through the Hunter exam, it very much feels like they could just, well, like, their relationship and their bond together is believably strong. And yes, I'm purposefully avoiding to talk about Gon, because I found him to be an interesting character in the way that he is very stereotypical for shonen. He is very much the energetic young child who is always happy and friendly and goes everywhere and is never giving up and all the fun shonen stuff. However, I was not expecting him to be that strong, because originally he wasn't portrayed as strong, but rather swift and agile and perceptive. Apparently he also has strength, but whatever. But most of all, there is something lurking within him, which is very disturbing, and I feel that is something dark, something not quite as friendly as he is. However, I suppose we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And I do like that that has been built up quite a bit. Like a lot. A lot. Most of the antagonists and some of the other characters as well have mentioned it. And I like that. It's like, if I turn out to be correct, I wouldn't be disturbed. I wouldn't be disappointed. I would be just happy that something so magnificently built up would pay off. And then I'll quickly mention Hisoka, because you can't talk about Hunter x Hunter without mentioning Hisoka. All of you who have watched the show will probably know what Hisoka is. He is something else. Even though he's not completely original. Like, there are a lot of characters. During the commentary I've mentioned Jojo before, that there is also a character who wants the protagonist to survive so he can fight them when they are stronger. However, he is very disturbing and I love him. He is such an amazing antagonist. So overall, this arc is a very good introduction arc and a very good starting off point for the show. It established their relationship and built the world and characters. Now, I thank you all very much for watching. I'll hope to see you all in the next video, in the next commentary that will be tomorrow. So, thank you all very much. I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day and stay awesome. Ganmu, out.